Guys, and welcome back to another video. Now this is a new recipe that I call my fake seafood bake or boil. Now here are the ingredients of everything that I'm using, so you can screenshot this or write it down. Now this recipe is for people who have seafood allergies, shellfish allergies, or it's just not in your diet and you don't eat shellfish, okay? It can even be for people who like seafood, and you can just try this out and have something different. Now I'm starting off with my corn. I had gotten some fresh corn from HEB and I'm cutting it up into small sections, okay? In my bowl I also have red potatoes in there that you're going to see me do in a vinegar wash. I'm going to put everything in a vinegar wash and wash all my veggies real good before I put them in a bowl, or rather a pot, to boil together. Now I just like to use distilled vinegar, and I add a little warm water and I add that to all of my veggies, and I'm also going to add my eggs in here just to make sure everything is clean good, because I am going to be boiling all of this in one pot, so I want to make sure all of my ingredients are washed well and cleaned well. And you'll see the water is kind of cloudy and milky, and that's kind of from the corn and everything. But I do a second vinegar wash and I let it sit for a little bit longer, and I let them sit for about 5 minutes or so, and then I rinse everything off very well with just regular warm water. Now after I've done my final rinse on all my veggies, I bring my bowl over and I prepare to put everything in my large pot. Now all I'm doing right now is cutting up my red potatoes. I'm making them smaller, not bite-sized pieces or anything like that. They are just on the large size, so for some of them I'm cutting in half, and some of them are so large that I'm cutting into fourths. Okay, I'm also cutting off the ends that need to be cut off and making sure there are no bad spots that need to be removed. I did have one potato that I just discarded completely, and that was the one you saw me put away. And I'm also making sure that my corn is cut to the size that I would prefer that it is. And I'm just getting everything ready so that I can pre-boil all of my veggies and my eggs. Now as I finish that up, I'm going to go ahead and just add my water to my pot and go ahead and fill up my pot with my water, and then I'm going to go ahead and put it on the stove and add salt to my water. Now I decided to just boil everything in one pot so that I don't mess up too many dishes and I can keep my cleaning cut down to a minimum. Now all I'm doing right now, I'm going to pre-boil all of this, so I want my potatoes to be tender but not soft. I want my corn to be cooked a little bit, and what I'm doing is getting it ready to put in the pan to bake. And I don't want anything to be overly cooked, but I do want it to cook evenly with everything else that's going in there. Now as I'm boiling that, I'm going to go ahead and cut up my beef sausage, and I just got this beef sausage from HEB, and I'm going to cut those into pretty good sized pieces. My daughter asked me next time to cut them into smaller pieces, so I probably will, but I'm just doing just nice sized chunks, and I believe I used 3 of them. You don't see the third package on this one. Now after I finish cutting up my beef sausage, I start cutting up my chicken breast. And as you can see, I'm just cutting them into thin strips. And the reason I cut them into this size strips is because they will cook quickly and evenly and everything will get done at the same time. Now what you did not see me do was wash my chicken. I do have a video where I show you how I wash my chicken, which is similar to how I wash my veggies. I use a vinegar rinse to also wash my chicken and clean my chicken. Okay, so that's what you didn't see me do. Alright, after I wash my hands, I am going to go ahead and get my chicken seasoned. Now this is the part, since tasting this, I'll use a little less of the Creole seasoning because it was on the spicy side, which my son didn't particularly like, that it was too spicy, and my daughter, it wasn't her favorite with being spicy also. It wasn't overly spicy, but it was spicy enough for them to where they were like, a little bit less next time. So all I'm adding is my Italian seasoning, my Creole seasoning, garlic powder, my Cayenne seasoning, and I have not added the parsley yet because that's going to be last, but I am going to add some paprika to this, and I'm going to mix it in real good with the chicken so that my chicken is seasoned very well. Now after I finished seasoning my chicken, I went to wash my hands again, and now I'm getting my butter ready to melt. All I'm going to do is put it in this coffee cup, and I use about 1.5 sticks of butter. I'm going to add garlic powder to it, Cayenne seasoning, and a little bit of the Creole seasoning, and then I'm also going to add minced garlic to this, and I'm going to let it microwave until it's completely melted and completely mixed in. Now after we finish melting our butter in the microwave, we're ready to get everything ready to assemble and get our pan ready. All I did was lightly spray it down with some olive oil, and after I did that, I drained off my corn and my potatoes, and I also peeled my eggs and got those ready. Now I'm going to add the melted butter to the bottom of the pan also, and then I'm going to also add it over the top when I finish adding everything to the pan. You guys, I had no rhyme or reason on how I was putting my food in the pan. I just put it in there the way I thought was best, okay? So I added my chicken, I would add sausage, I would add the potatoes and the carrots. I'm sorry, no carrots, the corn, and just added everything just the way I felt like it needed to go. I did, however, add my eggs on top, okay? So I had no rhyme or reason. I just started putting my food in the pan. So let me say, I always see people eating the seafood bake and seafood boil, and it looks so good, but I cannot have any of that food, okay? So when me and my mom were talking, we were thinking of a recipe, and we said, why not do it with chicken and sausage? Which, you guys, I have to admit, this was so good, and my kids loved the recipe, and you're going to see at the end, it was really fun, and it was so good, and it helps that if you're allergic and you can't have stuff, you can still have it without putting your life in danger. I don't know about anybody else. I have an EpiPen. I do not like using it. So yeah, this was a great alternative. Now after I've added all my ingredients to my pan, I'm going to go ahead and pour the rest of the melted butter on top of everything. And I did also add another about half a stick of butter and melt that down. And then I added that a little bit later. Now all I'm doing right now is making sure all my mixture is on there, but I'm also adding an additional Tajín seasoning, Creole seasoning, and the parsley on top of everything. After I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and add my eggs onto my pan. And I decided to only use about, I think I had 3 or 4 eggs, and that was it. Now after I've added my eggs, I'm going to make sure they have enough seasoning on them also, and just make sure the whole mixture is seasoned very well, okay? I added more Creole, but like I said, I will cut back on that next time because it was more spicier than I need. And if you don't know, I'm not allowed to have a lot of spicy food at all per doctor's order, so that's why I will cut back on the seasoning next time. Now what I'm going to do is squeeze a whole lime over my mixture, and I'm also going to squeeze a whole lemon over my mixture, and then I'm also going to squeeze half of a lime over my mixture. Now after I finish getting everything the way I want it, I'm going to cover my pan very well with foil paper, and I'm going to put it in the oven at 400 degrees for 20 minutes. And through the magic of video editing, it is 20 minutes later. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to check everything. I'm going to take my foil paper off because I'm going to let it finish cooking the rest of the way with the foil paper off. And I'm just going to make sure everything is having enough juice. It's not drying out at the bottom. It's not sticking or anything like that. If I need to turn some of it over and stuff, I'm going to check all that stuff. And then I'm going to add it back in the oven, 400 degrees for 20 more minutes. I'll say about 20 to 15 minutes, and that's it. Now in the meantime, while that is getting done, I melted some more butter for us to be able to dip. And like I said, all I put in my butter was the minced garlic, Tajín seasoning, very little of the Cajun seasoning, and that was it. That's all I seasoned my butter with. And I could have thrown some parsley and stuff in there, but I felt like I didn't need it. I like more of a lemon flavor than anything. And after I finish with that, I'm also going to cut up some lemon wedges so I can add to the dish. Alright you guys, and here is the final results of my fake seafood bake. All I'm doing is adding my lemon wedges, and you guys, this looked so good. My kids were like, Mama, this looks delicious. Like before I even put it in the oven to bake, Myriah saw me cooking it and she was like, that looks really good. I don't know what you're doing, but it looks really good. So all I'm doing now is I'm laying everything out on our coffee table so we can do the kind of the essence of how they eat their seafood boil. And like I said, this was a recipe for me because I can't have seafood. I can't have the shellfish at all. And I prefer not to go to the doctor's office, not to go to the hospital, and not to almost kill myself to eat something. But every time I see someone doing a mukbang, it looks so good. I was like, oh my God, I just want to try it. I just want to taste it. But I know I can't have it. And actually my sister, she's allergic, so we cannot have stuff like this. So this was a way for me to do that and have that idea and for me to enjoy it with my children. And they really did love this meal. They loved it. So if you try this out, let me know what you think about it. Thank you so much for watching. You guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. It truly helps my channel out, and I appreciate all my new subscribers for coming in. I hope you enjoy my content, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.